In September and October 2018, researchers at New York University's Rudin Center for Transportation sought to determine whether transit has a pink tax, so they concocted a survey and shared it on SurveyMonkey. Sounds totally legit. You may be asking, what is the pink tax? According to the center's report, the pink tax is a form of gender-based price discrimination. It is the extra amount that women pay for certain products, such as deodorant, and services including dry cleaning. The center is citing this study from Cradle to Cane, the cost of being a female consumer, as a source. That report, for example, compares two deodorants. The woman's costs 20 cents more than the men's. However, the men's deodorant is made up from different ingredients than the woman's. So it's not the exact same thing, is it? As for dry cleaning, when men's shirts are brought to the cleaners, they aren't dry cleaned. They are typically laundered in a washing machine and folded in an automated press. Women's shirts and blouses are typically dry cleaned, usually need to be hand pressed, and are hung on a hanger, hence the higher cost. For more on this report, check out my video Triggered by the Pink Tax. The link is in the description. Now, when it comes to transportation, the term pink tax isn't even applicable, because prices for transportation are exactly the same for both men and women. Women are not charged more to ride the bus or subway, and they are not charged more for taxi rides or car services. Misuse of the term aside, what does the report have to say? The center claims that 29% of women do not take public transportation at night as a result of a perceived safety threat. 75% of female responses indicated experiencing harassment or theft on public transit, compared to 47% of male responses. And that 88% of those who experienced harassment did not report the incident to authorities. The center claims that the results of the survey conclude that using alternative modes of transportation at night for safety reasons adds to monthly travel expenses for women. The center claims that the median extra cost per month for men, due to safety reasons, is $0. On the other hand, the median extra cost per month for women is $26 to $50. However, the center's report doesn't show how they came to that conclusion. If you watch this channel on a regular basis, you know that I don't take anything at face value. I wanted to look deeper into the data, so I reached out to the Rudin Center and its associate director, Sarah Kaufman. Andrew, thank you for your interest. At this time, we are not able to share survey data. Gee, I wonder why they wouldn't share their data with me. Oh well, without any more detail, I guess we're gonna just have to take their word for it and wrap this thing up. Or an anonymous source could give us the survey's questions and results. Yeah, let's go with that. The center claims that there were 547 complete surveys. As it turns out, there were 657 people that took part, but only 547 people completed the survey and indicated their gender. Considering that the goal was to see how women make their travel choices, asking for the respondent's gender should have been the first question of the survey, instead of the 30th. That means that there are 110 surveys that can't be properly analyzed. I reached out to the center for a breakdown of survey responses, but since they wouldn't provide them, responses are from both genders. Now, out of 547 respondents, 416 of them were white or Caucasian, whereas 42 were Asian or Asian American, 39 were Hispanic or Latino, and a whopping 18 were Black. This is a problem, considering that it doesn't remotely represent New York City's race demographics. On top of that, 99.27% of those respondents had at least some form of college education. This is a problem considering that it doesn't remotely represent New York's demographics on education. Already this report is problematic. Question 5. What mode or modes of transportation do you use for trips after 9 p.m., including late night travel? Out of 657 respondents to this question, 534 of them chose public transit as an option, which is 81.2%. Question 18. Has harassment, perceived or experienced, affected how you use transportation? 111 out of 599 respondents answered, I don't use transportation late at night. So 18.5% of respondents don't use late night transportation. This is in line with the response from question 5 that shows that 81.2% say that they use public transportation for late night travel. Wait a second! I thought that the center said that 29% of women didn't take public transportation late at night. The center's findings aren't quite matching up with the survey data. Question 7. On which mode of transportation do you feel safest while traveling late at night? 40% of respondents chose for-hire vehicles. You mean an Uber is considered safer than the subway? No sh**. Now remember that the report claims that 75% of females indicated some form of harassment or theft while using public transportation. 46.8% responded that they had experienced verbal harassment, which could be anything from being catcalled, being yelled at by a crazy homeless person, or someone getting in your face because they have a chip on their shoulder. The report points out that 88% of those who had experienced harassment did not report the incident to authorities and highlight the response, "I didn't bother because I didn't think they would do anything." The center is inferring that the police wouldn't properly deal with it or believe the victim, but it's more about the fact that while the harassment was verbal or sexual in nature, it's generally not illegal and not worth reporting. Now, if it escalates into disorderly conduct, that's a whole other issue. And catcalling, while rude and inappropriate, is generally not a crime.
Hey, look at that! $5,000.
Otherwise, New York City jails would be packed with hundreds of thousands of people. Question 22. If you choose an alternate mode of travel based on safety, how much, on average, does it add to your travel expenses per month? In the report, the center equates safety to avoiding harassment. But what if someone's intoxicated and they don't want to pass out on the train and they decide to take a car home? That's being safe, right? Let's face it, many people who travel late at night have been drinking and might feel more vulnerable, therefore choosing a safer transportation option. It should be clear by now that the NYU survey was designed to fit a narrative that women are somehow oppressed by transportation costs. Because of that, they wouldn't ask simple questions like, are transit delays or subway closures a factor in your late night travel choice? Did you take a car because it was faster and more convenient than the subway or bus? Was the late night travel time and distance to your destination a factor? How many times a month do you take late night transportation? Is spending extra on more expensive late night transportation a burden on your budget? Why are you in need of late night transportation? Not asking detailed questions about transit preferences is a problem, considering that the survey was from a so-called Center for Transportation Policy and Management. Instead, they took a half-baked survey specifically designed to be divisive, slapped the term pink tax in the title of the report, and ran with it. And of course, numerous news outlets wrote their pink tax pieces without doing their due diligence, taking the report completely at face value without even questioning its validity. Yeah, I know, you're shocked. Thanks for watching, sharing, and hitting that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and click on this playlist for more videos. And be sure to visit the links in the description to support the channel. And as always, I hope to see you all next time.